Shipping sector. Considering that shipbuilding has a long gestation period, I propose to continue the exemption of BCD on raw materials, components, consumables, or parts for the manufacture of ships for another 10 years. I also propose the same dispensation for shipbreaking to make it more competitive. Telecommunication. To prevent classification disputes, I propose to reduce the BCD from 20% to 10% on carrier-grade Ethernet switches to make it at par with non-carrier-grade Ethernet switches. Export promotion. To facilitate exports of handicrafts, I propose to extend the time period for export from 6 months to 1 year, further extendable by another 3 months if required. I also propose to add 9 items to the list of duty-free inputs. Leather sector. I propose to fully exempt BCD on wet blue leather to facilitate imports for domestic value addition and employment. I also propose to exempt crust leather from 20% export duty to facilitate exports by small tanners. Marine products. To enhance India's competitiveness in the global seafood market, I propose to reduce BCD from 30% to 5% on frozen fish paste, surimi, for manufacture and export of its analog products. I also propose to reduce BCD from 15% to 5% on fish hydrolysates for manufacture of fish and shrimp feed. In July 2024 budget, to promote development of domestic MROs for aircraft and ships, I had extended the time limit for export of foreign origin goods that were imported for repairs from 6 months to 1 year and further extendable by 1 year. I now propose to extend the same dispensation for railway goods. Time limit for provisional assessment. Presently, the Customs Act 1962 does not provide any time limit to finalize provisional assessments, leading to uncertainty and cost to trade. As a measure of promoting ease of doing business, I propose to fix a time limit of 2 years, extendable by a year, for finalizing the provisional assessment. I propose to introduce a new provision that will enable importers or exporters, after clearance of goods, to voluntarily declare material facts and pay duty with interest but without penalty. This will incentivize voluntary compliance. However, this will not apply in cases where department has already initiated audit or investigation proceedings. For industry to better plan their imports, I propose to extend the time limit for the end use of imported inputs in the relevant rules from 6 months to 1 year. This will provide operational flexibility in view of cost and uncertainty of supply. Further, such importers will now have to file only quarterly statements instead of a monthly statement. I now come to my direct tax proposals. In Part A, I have briefly underlined taxation reforms as one of key reforms to realize our vision of Vikasit Bharat. In respect of criminal law, our government had earlier ushered in Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, replacing Bharatiya Danda Sanhita. I am happy to inform this august House and the country that for new income tax bill will carry forward the same spirit of Nyaya in its drafting as well. The new bill will be clear and direct in text, with close to half of the present law in terms of both chapters and words. It will be simple to understand for taxpayers and tax administrators, leading to tax certainty and reduced litigation. Reforms, however, are not a destination. They are means to achieve good governance for our people and economy. Providing good governance primarily involves being responsive. The Tirukural captures this in verse 542, which reads, "Vaanokki vaazhum ulagallam, mannavan kol nokki vaazhum kudi," meaning, just as the living beings live expecting rains, citizens live expecting good governance. Our government is committed to keeping an ear to the ground and a finger on the pulse and responding while balancing our national building efforts. The following measures will detail just how our government will, under the guidance of PM Modi, has taken steps to understand and address. I repeat that sentence, sir. The following measures will detail just how our government, under the guidance of PM Modi, has taken steps to understand and address the needs voiced by our citizens. My tax proposals are guided by this spirit. The objectives of my proposals are as follows. Personal income tax reforms with special focus on middle class. Rationalization of TDS and TCS for easing difficulties. Encouraging voluntary compliance. Reducing compliance burden. Ease of doing business, employment and investment. I will come to my proposal on personal income tax towards the end. TDS and TCS, rationalization for easing difficulties. I propose to rationalize tax deduction at source, TDS, by reducing the number of rates and thresholds above which TDS is deducted. Further, threshold amounts for tax deduction will be increased for better clarity and uniformity. The limit for tax deduction on interest for senior citizens is being doubled from the present 50,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees. Similarly, the annual limit of 2.40 lakh rupees for TDS on rent is being increased to 6 lakh rupees. This will reduce the number of transactions liable to TDS, thus benefiting small taxpayers receiving small payments. The threshold to collect tax at source, the TCS, on remittances under RBI's liberalised remittance scheme, the LRS, is proposed to be increased from 7 lakh to 10 lakhs. I also propose to remove TCS on remittances for education purposes, where such remittances